Hello everyone, this is Maureen and welcome to my crochet story, where I share with you the two things that I love, teaching and crochet. Today is the first in our Moving On Up series, where we take the basic stitches that we learned in our basic stitch series and we start putting them together to make other stitches and to start actually making some wearable projects, some household items, baby clothes, you name it. All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to take this skein of yarn. It is from Michaels. It is their Craft Smart. This is called Goldenrod with Fleck. It is a 4 medium weight yarn. It has approximately, let me get around here, 252 yards or 231 meters. Now this is plenty to make a hat, and that's what we're going to do today. Today we're going to look at making a hat that starts from the top and comes down. Now this is going to be a very simple beanie type hat, one that you can use a pattern for over and over and over again. Now all you're going to need is one skein and our trusty J hook. Remember, this is a 6.0 millimeter hook. Mine happens to be a Bates. You can use whatever hook starting from now on that you like. I prefer to use aluminum hooks. You might be ready to venture out into Clovers or Tulips or many of the other brands that are out there. But I'm just a Bates girl, and that's what I have to crochet with. So grab yourself a skein of yarn, and folks, the stitches on this are going to be simple enough that if you're ready to venture out into some variegated or some that changes colors very slightly in what we call an ombre, you can get a stripe. You are no longer tied to just a solid color, because the stitches that we're going to be using today to make this hat will look good on any type or any color of yarn. Also, if you're ready to venture into using dark colors such as black or navy, go ahead and pick you up a skein. But you're just going to need one skein of yarn, 100% acrylic, and a J hook. So whenever you're ready, gather your materials and meet me on the other side of our little intermission poster. I'll be right back with you. All right, now that you've got your skein of yarn, I want to talk to you for just a moment of how we're going to build this hat from the top down. Now, this is going to be in a circular design. All right. Now, you might want to get a piece of paper and take down these notes, because it is a system that you can use over and over and over again for about 85% of the hat patterns that are out there. So what we're going to do first is we're going to chain 4, and then we're going to hook them with a slip knot. Now, from this point forward, you can determine the number of stitches that starts your first row after you've done your little chain circle. Many people's hats can go anywhere from 12 to 15 depending on the type of stitch, but let's just say that for this particular hat here, our rows are going to be made with double crochets. So I'm going to, in this first row around, do 12 double crochets. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to attach, and in my next row I'm going to do an increase. I'm going to do an increase of 12 because that's what I started my first row with. So this next row, we'll double it and we will have 24 double crochets. Then in the next row, we're going to add 12 again, not doubling, but we're going to add 12 again, and I will have 36 double crochets. Going to go one more row, and I'm going to add 12 again, making it 48 double crochets. Now, since I started out with 12 double crochets here in my first row, every row that I go out, there is a pattern in which it allows me to increase by 12 stitches. Now, let's say that I had started out with 15 double crochets. When I go to my next row, by the time I got finished, I should have 30 double crochets. And by the time I get ready to go to the next row and increase, it should have 45 double crochets. So no matter what that first row of stitch it is, you're going to be increasing your row by that number every single time. And I'll show you how we're going to do that in just a moment. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so I've got my thread here, and look, this one was just so nice. It already had the center pull for me pulled out. So I am going to go ahead and get started. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull some of this out because see, sometimes we have a little bit of a knot there. And it might be more than one knot. Let's see if we can keep pulling. Oh, look at there, it's starting to pull from this side. And sometimes that happens, folks. And what I'll do is I'll just see where that end, yeah, see where this other end here, the outside string came through. If I just pull that this way, let's see what's gonna, it's knotted up here. That's what the problem is. See if I can't get that unknotted real quick. There she is. And now I should be able to start. There we go. Get this looped around over here and tucked back out of the way. Now let's see what this other little knot's going to be. Sometimes, yeah, there it is. It'll get caught. Gets a little wrapped up on itself. Sometimes this 4-weight acrylic only knots up on itself because more so of the fibers catching on one another and getting a little twisted. Yeah, there we go. All right, now that I got that knot out, let's go ahead and get started. Remember how to get your yarn onto your hook? We're going to wrap around, cross in the back to the front, take our hook, go under the first, grab the second, get us a knot onto our hook. All right, now we're ready to start on our hat. So I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to come right back into this first chain and I'm going to make a slip stitch. Now a slip stitch is just basically going in, pulling up a piece of the yarn and pulling it through. No additional loops or anything. Okay? Should have stuck my finger right in through there. All right, now I'm going to chain 1, and this chain 1 is not going to count as anything. It's just going to help me to get started on the next row. So I'm going to make a double crochet by putting 1 loop on my hook, going into the center, grabbing up a loop, pulling it up, grabbing another loop to drop off 2, pulling through to drop off 2. Now there's my first single crochet. It looks like there's 2, but there's actually 1 because this little chain here, remember, doesn't count as anything. We're going to do 12 double crochets. So that's my first one. Here's my second one. Going in, pulling up, I have 3 loops, dropping 2, dropping 2. Wrapping over, going in to make another one, pull up, drop 2, drop 2. Now I have just created 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and you can see their V's up there on the top. 1, 2, 3. Here's number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, and number 12. Now I'm going to take, and on this first single double crochet here, I'm going to go under both loops of the double crochet, and again slip stitch where I just pull and pull through again. Now you can right now, if you want to, go ahead and close up that hole by taking your tail and pulling on it, or if you wish, you can wait until the end. All right, now this is going to start the first increase to make my hat top bigger. I'm going to take chain 1, all right, remember it doesn't count as anything, and I'm going to go right back into that stitch, and I'm going to make a double crochet. Sorry, loop over, and then go back into that same stitch that we slip stitched into. There's my first double crochet. Now I'm going to go right back into that stitch there. I'm going to be putting 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around. So I'll be increasing this row by 12 because that's the number of crochets that I started with in the very beginning. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I am only halfway around. Let's finish up the last half. (21), 22, 23, and 24. Now, this little stitch right here, remember I told you it does not count as anything. And if you're not certain that you've got the correct number of stitches, always pull out your hook and count backwards to your very first one. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So again, we're going to connect our stitches with a slip knot, or slip stitch, excuse me, into the very first single crochet. And chain 1 to start our next row. Now, in order to get 12 stitches evenly spaced around here, what we're going to do is we're going to make a pattern of 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then 2 single crochets in the next. We're going to alternate 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. So let's get started. So I've already chained 1. I'm going back into this very same stitch that I slip stitched into. Caught a little extra thread there. here's my first double crochet in that stitch. Now I'm going over to the very next stitch and I'm putting 2 single crochets in that next stitch. And that's the repeat of my pattern. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. 1, I said single, double crochet, 2 double crochets. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. And you're going to do that all the way around, ending with 2 double crochets in the last stitch of the round. 1 double crochet, 1, 2 double crochets. And I'll meet you back around over here. I'm coming up now on the last 4 stitches. So I have 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, and 2 double crochets. Now again, since I increased by 12, this row now should have 36 stitches. This one had 12, this one had 24, this one should have 36. And also I ended with 2 double crochets in the same stitch, but let's make sure that we have our count right. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. And again, I will slip stitch into the top of my first double crochet for the round. Now again, we have to increase by 12 double crochets. So the pattern for this row, after I chain 1, will be 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 double crochets in the next. So it's 1, 1, 2. All right, let's get this going. Back into our first stitch that we slip stitched into. 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. That gives me 4 double crochets. So again, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and that's my pattern. One double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. So repeat your pattern all the way around, and you should, in the last stitch of this circle, have 2 double crochets. So I'll meet you back. All right, I'm back to the last 3 stitches of my row. So I'm going to do 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and now 2 double crochets. And as always, let's pull up a loop and go back and count. We should have 48 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. And again, we will slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet. All right. Now, depending on the crown size of the person that you're making the hat for, you can stop and start building the sides. But I'm making this for an adult, so I need to go 2, possibly 3 more rounds. And we do that by increasing the number of we do that by increasing the number of double crochets in the first part of the row before we do a double. So here we did doubles. Here I had 1. Here we did doubles. Here I had 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. Here I have 2 single of the double crochets and then 2 in 1 stitch. I still need to increase now this round for an increase of 12. So I'm going to chain 1, go right back into this stitch, make a double crochet, and this time my repeat pattern will be 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then 2 in the 4th. So the repeat pattern is 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. So here I have my first one, second double crochet, third double crochet, and now I'll have 2 in this next stitch. So now I have 5 double crochets spread over 4 stitches. Do it again. Here's your repeat. 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then 2 in the next stitch. Again, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 in the next stitch. And you will repeat that pattern all the way around, ending with 2 double crochets in this last stitch. I'll meet you there in just a moment. Right, I'm back to down to my last 4 stitches. So the last of my pattern. Excuse me. 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochets in the last stitch. And we should have 60 stitches going all the way around our hat here. Now I'm going to count to make sure that I have my 60 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Now I'm going to join with the slip stitch. Well, I pulled that loop out a long ways, didn't I? Now I'm going to, many of us would probably stop right here at the size of this top. But since I'm making this for an adult with a little bit larger head, I'm going to go one more round. So I'm going to do one more round that has an increase of 12 because that was what my starting circle was here with my double crochet. So in order to increase by 12 more stitches, our pattern this time will be 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. So 4 single double crochets, and the 5th stitch will have 2 double crochets in it. Again, chain 1, go right back into that first stitch there with a double crochet. So that's my first one. Second one. Third one. Fourth one. And now I'm ready to do my double crochet for the increase of the round. Excuse me. Again, 1, second one, just can't seem to keep my loops, third one, fourth one, and now my increase. So there's your pattern. 1 double crochet in the first 4 stitches, and then 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2. I'll meet you back around when we get over here. Okay, I've made it back around, and before I join my row again, I'm going to count my stitches. Now the last row had 60, this one should have 72. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, and 72. There she is. All right, so before we go any further, I want to write down for you the pattern that we did for this so that you will have it if you like the starting with the 12 double crochets or 12 single crochets if you're making for a baby beanie, or 12 half double crochets if you're making for a small child to a, say, preteen. Now this hat size from about row 4, you can start adjusting as children get older. Okay, I'm going to do 1 row of half double crochets all the way around the perimeter. All right, so 1 double crochet all the way around. I'm going to come right back into, half double crochet. Remember, half double crochets, what does that look like? 2 chains. Let me go back and make sure this is right. All right, 1 chain. Okay, so we're going to remember that a half double crochet is 1 loop. We go back into the same stitch, and when we pull it up, we have 3 loops on our stitch, but we treat it just like a single crochet. Again, loop around, go through the stitch, pull up, and there's my half double. and I'm going to put 1/2 double in each stitch all the way around. In, pull up, pull through. In, pull up, pull through. Okay, I'm coming back around to the beginning of my round here. Didn't do any increases, just 1/2 double crochet stitch in the top of each double crochet all the way around. And I'm going to slip stitch right back into the top of that 1/2 double crochet. Now you'll notice here that it's not quite laying flat anymore. Alright, this is helping to bring that curve that you want to come off the crown down the side of your head. Alright, now of course we'll be working this way. Okay, now I did that just to give it a nice smooth coming down off of the crown of the head. And so for this next row, I'm going to put one single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So this whole top here has been built with double crochets. This to help us transition from the top to the tubular side here going around, or the circumference of our hat. I used a 1/2 double crochet so it wouldn't be so stark. I wanted a nice gradual smooth coming off the crown. But now I want to set up my design that I'm going to use to go from just right there at the edge of your head down towards my ears. So again, chain 1 and go right back into that first stitch there and do your single crochet. Remember, single crochet is just going in, pulling up, and pulling through. In, up, pull through. In, up, pull through. Do that all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the beginning of the round. Alright, so I've come back around and I'm getting ready to finish off this round with one more single crochet, and then I'm going to join into the top of the first single crochet from my round. Alright, so if you'll notice how it is coming nicely off of the crown here, see how that nice smooth curve? Now I'm ready to set up for what I want for the sides of my stitches. So in this next round, I'm going to chain up 1 and do a double crochet, and then I'm going to put 1 double crochet in every single stitch around, and that's going to help me set up for what I want to do for the rest of my beanie. So I'll meet you back around in just a few minutes. Alright, I'm coming around to the last couple of stitches. And I'm getting ready to slip stitch into my next round. Now that has set up what I want to do for the rest of my hat. I'm going to finish out the sides of this hat in a pattern of double crochet and front post double crochets. Now if you were part of my basic stitch series, you know how to do a front post. But if you weren't and you don't know what a front post is, don't worry, because I will go slow enough to where you can learn how to do this. So we're going to start out the row with a chain 1 and go right back into this stitch, and we're going to do a double crochet. Now for this very next stitch, which I can tell is off of this top of my double crochet, I'm going to loop around just like I was getting ready to do a double crochet, and I'm going to go around the post from the back side. See how it pushes that post forward? Wrap my thread around, pull up, and then make my double crochet. I'm going to go on to the next double crochet and just make a double crochet. In the next double crochet, I'm going to go around the post. So we'll go from the back side forward, which pushes the post to the front or towards me. Loop around just like I'm making a double crochet and finish it out. Next stitch is a double crochet. The next stitch around the post from the back side, push it forward, loop, and make a double crochet. And it kind of gives it a nice little texture here. Nothing fancy, but it does give it a little bit of definition. So again, double crochet, front post, double crochet, double crochet, front post, double crochet. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Double crochet, front post, double crochet. And you'll do this all the way around, ending with a front post double crochet here on this last stitch. So I'll be back around to see you in just a minute. Alright, I'm coming to the end of my row and I am ending up with the front post double crochet, and I'm getting ready to slip stitch to the first double crochet that I made here. And as you can see, or you should be able to see, a nice little bit of definition growing here. So let's do that again. I'm going to chain one, go back into my first stitch here, which was the double crochet on the bottom, or excuse me, on the previous row, do a double crochet. Now this next stitch you can see was your front post double crochet, and that's what we're going to continue to do. Double crochet, front post, double crochet, front post. So again, go behind the post, push it forward, and make your double crochet. Next stitch is a double crochet. Front post, push that post forward, double crochet. See the nice texture that it's making there? Giving it a little bit of definition. And I'll meet you back around at the end of the round. Now I'm back around to the end of this round, and again I'm going to be ending with my front post double crochet, and then I'm going to attach with a slip knot to the first single crochet of the round. Now I want you to do this 2 more rounds where we chain one, do a double crochet in the first stitch, front post, around the front post from the previous, double crochet, front post again, and hopefully you'll see where your front posts are on top of each other and your double crochets are on top of each other. So I want you to do that for 2 more rounds. And I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, I am to the last front post double crochet of my second additional rows that I told you to make. Now, you can continue on making however many rows that you need so that the measurement of your hat from the crown to just below your ear is approximately 6.5 to 7 inches. It just depends on how much hair you have, if you're making it for yourself, if you're making it for someone else. If they have a lot of hair, you're going to want to make it a little longer because the crown here is going to take up a lot of volume for the hair as well as the sides. I'm going to stop just a moment in this pattern, and I'm going to break it just a little bit, and I'm going to put in 2 or 3 rows of single crochets before I start back with this pattern. So if you want to follow along with me, do 3 rows of single crochets, and then we'll start back on the double crochet and front post to finish out the sides. All right, let me get you started. We're going to chain 1, and back in this very first stitch here, we're going to make a single crochet and then single crochet all the way around. I'm going to do that for 3 rows, and I'll meet you back in just a moment. All right, so I'm coming back to the end of my 3rd row of single crochets, and I'm going to join. Now if you notice, it kind of gives it a nice little break in the pattern here, and I like it because there's so many things you can do with this little row of 3 single crochets. You could change thread out and possibly put in a different color. If this was a variegated, you could probably put in a matching solid, or vice versa. If this was a solid and you had some nice variegated that had this color in it, you could put that in there. There's a lot of different things that you can do with just this little bit of strip of a different texture of your stitches that you're putting together to make the hat. Now, I want to finish out with another section of this double crochet and front post double crochet. But in order to get back into this pattern here, I'm going to have to start with a row of double crochets, because that sets the foundation for us to be able to create our double crochets and front post, double crochets and front post. So to start the next round, we're going to chain 1 and put a double crochet in each of our stitches all the way around. And I'll meet you back at the beginning of the round in just a moment. All right, I'm coming up to the end of my double crochet round. Going to join to the top of my first double crochet with a slip stitch. All right, now I'm set up to be able to do a couple of more rounds of this front post, single crochet, front post, single, not singles. I don't know why I've been wanting to say singles all day long, but the double crochet, front post, double crochet, front post. So here we go. Chain 1, double crochet right back into that first stitch, and then on the next stitch we're going to do our double crochet around the post. Double crochet, front post around the post, just like we did a little bit ago. Now if you're following along with me, I'm going to do this for 3 rows. So this is my first row of the pattern, and then I will do 2 more rows. So I'll catch up with you in just a few moments. All right, I'm coming up to the end of the 3rd row of the double crochet front post, double crochet, and I think now I'm ready to start finishing off my hat. I'm going to come back and do 2 rows of single crochets, and then I'm going to end with a finishing row that I'll share with you in just a few minutes. So I'm going to do 2 rows of single crochets, and I'll meet you back in just a moment. All right, I'm coming to the end of my 2nd row of single crochets. I'm slip stitching into the top of this first one. Now, you can stop right here and have a very nice, clean, finished edge to your beanie or your hat. But I'm going to make one more round of what I call a finishing round. Now, some folks would come in here and do a crab stitch, in which they just slip stitch backwards all the way around. Some would just come through and do a slip stitch through the front, going forward, just like we've been doing. I do a combination of single crochets and slip stitch. This way it tightens up this bottom here just a little bit, keeps it from stretching out too much whenever I've worn it multiple times, and but it's not so tight that I can't get it over my head. So I'm going to chain one. I'm going to go back into this first stitch, and I'm going to make a single crochet, another single crochet, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Remember, a slip stitch is just going in, pulling up, and then pulling through. Again, single crochet, and then a slip stitch. Okay? Single crochet, and then a slip stitch. There you go. Single crochet, and a slip stitch. You can do that all the way around, and I'll meet you back here at the beginning. Alright, so I'm coming around to the last 3 stitches. Single crochet, and slip stitch. And then I will tie off with a slip stitch in the very first single crochet of the row. Then I'm going to chain one and come over here and snip me off a tail and pull that through and tighten it down. And there is my hat. I hope you can see the nice texture coming off of the crown, and then this row of double crochets in front post, and then this little break in here with the single crochets, and then following back through with more double crochets and front post, and then finishing off with a double crochet brim. Now all we have left to do is tie in our tails. So we'll take a tapestry needle, thread it through our eye here, and then, as I've said before, I'll just kind of catch me a few stitches here just so I can hide my tail. Pull that piece through, whichever one it happens to be. It must be this one here. There she goes. And then I'll go back up again. As I said, just catching enough of the loops to weave my end in. And then I'm going to go one more time to make sure that it's locked in. Trying to catch that loop right there, but it doesn't want to get caught. Alright, then I'll find another loop. Let's see, how about if I just come on down here? There we go. That one's working a little better. And one more. Alright, I'm going to snip that off. I'm going to come in here and take care of that tail from the crown where we just started. Now if you didn't pull it tight in the beginning, you might want to pull it tight now. And again, we'll thread it through here. Oops, didn't get all the strands there. Let's try that again. There she goes. Now I caught them. And again, I'm going to come up here at the top, and I'm just going to feed my yarn back through some of these loops. Now it's a little easier up here on the top because the stitches aren't quite as tight as they were there around the brim. Excuse me, around the end there. Then I'm going to go one more time, as I said, just to make sure that my tail is secure. And there she is. Now, as I said before, this little hat pattern, just this starting off with the crown as we did, you could have finished this whole thing just with double crochets and front posts, not even having this little break in between. And you can finish it off with not even having the additional little row of single crochets down here at the bottom. It just depends on what you want to do. Now let me show you something else about this hat, and the reason why I love using single crochets and front post double crochets. I kind of feel like I get a twofer here, because when I turn it wrong side out, look at that. I've got a totally different design on my hat. It looks like I've got little waffle stitches here. Makes it look like I have ridges. Isn't that nice? I like that because, like I said, I feel like I get two hats out of one when I make this pattern. So I hope that you have enjoyed this first in your Moving On Up series of projects that we just created. If you did, please be sure and hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell that lets you know every time I release a new video. So until next time, be safe, be kind to one another, and remember, try to be the light in the darkness for someone today, because you never know, it may be your light that they need to see. See you next time. Bye.